The regional final round, the fourth round of the Texas high school football playoffs are here. They are upon us. We're having fun with it. There are games all across the state. And it's one of the opportunities for us to – it's a strange round because you get some rematches. You get also, I think, some pretty hotly anticipated games that we've kind of had circled for a while. And it's also – I don't know. We talked about this on Tep and Step. I think that there are people who are like, it's a state quarterfinal round. And it is. That is true. And I'm not going to get too mad at you if you want to call it that. But I think we need to acknowledge the challenge of winning your region. Mm-hmm. Because the region is set up for you. There are X number of teams. There's either 4 districts or 8 districts, depending on 6A or 5A and below, that you have to defeat in order to get out of there. You know that. You don't really know who's coming out of the other side. Mm-hmm. But this is the last time where there's like a charted path. And I think that winning your region is a real accomplishment. It is the equivalent of, to me, the awards are obviously celebrate every round you win in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But to me, you win your district, that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. That is the equivalent of like, in my opinion, that is the equivalent of winning your division in baseball or in football, right? Winning your region is the equivalent of winning the ALCS or NLCS or winning the NFC Championship game. Yes. Right? Obviously, it's not advancing to the national or the Super Bowl or whatever, but you know what I mean. That's the equivalent. And then obviously the state championship. To me, this is a fun round because it's a celebration of these particular regions before we get into cross-regional matchups.
Well, and that's the other thing too is I always feel like we talk about it every single year, but the state semifinals is the cruelest round.
We'll talk about it next week.
Football, like absolutely the cruelest round. This one is the last shot I feel like to like really, really celebrate before it's like okay. Here's the biggest
state or bust.
Yeah, exactly. Like either we can play, and if we lose, then it's like we didn't even make it here. Like regional final is something to be celebrated.
I agree, absolutely. Without further ado, here's my top 10 Texas high school football games of the week in the regional final. We will start Saturday at Choctaw Stadium in Arlington as the 11 in 5A Division II as the 11-2 South Oak Cliff Golden Bears take on the 12-1 Lovejoy Leopards in a 5A Division II Region 2 final. And it's Judgment Day. It's Judgment Day for Lovejoy. That this is the team that has for a while, and I think last year really, was earmarked as the South Oak Cliff Killer. Mm-hmm. Here they are a year later with an opportunity to do just that. Now remember, South Oak Cliff beat Lovejoy last year. Beat them relatively soundly. Mm-hmm. But this feels like a different Lovejoy team. Feels like their defense has bowed up a little bit, and they've come up with big plays. This is also a South Oak Cliff team that I don't think has the defense that it did last year. Mm-hmm. Now, that's an impossible bar.
Oh, yeah.
But this is an opportunity for Lovejoy to prove their worth. Hondo Franklin, their quarterback, has been spectacular all year long. They've got one of the best receiver corps in the nation. They are ready for prime time. But here they have an opportunity to straight up prove it, plain and simple. You win this game, and we're all talking about how they were the kings of the toughest region in the class, and to me will be the favorite to play at AT&T Stadium and arguably the favorite to win the state championship. But if you lose this game, then it's kind of all for naught, and it's back to South Oak Cliff because South Oak Cliff, they rule the roost. They're the team they've got a 15-game playoff winning streak. They have been absolutely spectacular. A lot of this is going to be whether or not Lovejoy can stop the run, plain and simple. Because South Oak Cliff, when they're at their best, is when they're running the ball with guys like Danny Green. Can Lovejoy stop the run? Will South Oak Cliff's defense come up with big plays? How well do they match up in the secondary? It is a fascinating matchup at Choctaw Stadium going on Saturday, 3:30. Then let's matriculate to the Houston area. 2 o'clock Saturday at Veterans Memorial Stadium in Pasadena.
Live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
It is a rematch of a District 21 6A bout as the Galina Park North Shore Mustangs take on the Humble Atascocita Eagles in a really intriguing matchup. This is they have won 7 straight. The Mustangs have won 7 straight games against Atascocita. Mm-hmm. And last week against Cy-Fair, I think there is an argument that was their most complete game of the year.
Oh, by far, because either beforehand, they either got up so quickly that they didn't really have to worry about playing in the second half, or for the past like 3 or 4 weeks, they kind of farted around in the first half, and then they got online. So it's been a tale of two halves for that team.
But they hit the Jets last week from the word go, returned the opening kick for a touchdown, never looked back. Caleb Bailey was spectacular. Their receiving core was excellent. They ran the ball well. This is an Atascocita team that we know what they're about. Quarterback Zion Brown has been excellent. They've gotten Torrey Blaylock going, Carde Mack running the ball. They are explosive, plain and simple. Remember, this was a 26-point game when they played back on October 27th. And if you look at the history, North Shore has every one of they've played twice in 2019, 2021, and 2022. They played twice in those. And each of those years, North Shore won in the regular season, and then they expanded their margin in the playoffs. What happens here? Can Atascocita pull off the upset? It's a big game down there in Pasadena.
In for a real treat, too, because Gavin Moritz and Trevor Bullard are both on the call for that one.
That's fun. Then, a game I'm really excited about. I won't go too far on and on about this because I'm really excited about the because I want you guys to watch the picks video. But
it's going on tonight.
Going on tonight, 7 o'clock Thursday at Hawk Stadium in Iowa Park, in a game that I think is the biggest game tonight, as the Albany Lions take on the Collinsville Pirates. We're going to talk a lot about this in the picks video, so I don't want to spoil it, but a lot of this comes down to how well the Albany defense contains Logan Jenkins, the quarterback for Collinsville, who has been absolutely spectacular and is likely to go over 5,000 passing yards on the season in this game. How well they do that? Can the Albany offense find their groove after what was some fits and starts last week against Munster? Fascinating ball game. The defending state champs are, I think, in a real tussle tonight. Iowa Park, it's going down, Albany and Collinsville.
Matt Stepp will be in attendance.
Another game he's going to be in attendance for, 7 o'clock Friday at Bryce Stadium in no, that's not true. 7 o'clock Friday at Bryce Stadium in Nacogdoches.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was moved. It was originally supposed to be tonight at 7:30, and they moved it on Tuesday.
It is another rematch, this one in 2A Division I, as the Timpson Bears at 13-0 take on the Garrison Bulldogs in a rematch of a game that was pretty tight the first time they played. It was a close game. The first time, I want to say it was Timpson's closest game of the year. And so that is what makes this particularly interesting. The first time they met in district play, it was in Week 11, and the final score was, he said confidently, the final score was 35-26, by far the closest game that Timpson has played. Now, Timpson has been on another freaking planet recently, okay? They have hung 68, 58, and 68 in their 3 playoff games, okay? Terry Bussey has been great. Hard stop. J.J. Garner has been arguably I don't want to say their best player, but he's not too far behind his cousin.
No.
He's been unbelievable. How does Garrison's defense game plan for them? Can they come up with plays? Furthermore, how has Garrison adjusted in the last month to make this game closer and close a 9-point gap? It was 9 points last time. I expect it to be similarly close. I think this is a fascinating ball game, and I'm really interested in if Garrison can pull off the upset and knock off the Region 3 champs. Keep an eye on this one because I'll tell you, Garrison, their running game has been absolutely spectacular of late. Keep an eye on this one tomorrow night.
You know, a real quick kind of oddball comparison to what I think that Timpson has done with Terry Bussey and J.J. Garner. Okay. That's been the Franklin as of last year when we were all expecting Bryson Washington to completely run away with it. And then Jaden Jackson was like, hey, guys, I'm here too. That's kind of what that comparison is.
That's a real good comp. Then let's go to 6A. 2 o'clock Saturday at the field in Pflugerville. It is a rematch and the Battle of the Lakes District 26 6A matchup as the Westlake Chaparrals take on the Lake Travis Cavaliers.
Live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
My goodness. This is you know these two teams. You know that they are you know what they're about. We've seen this the first time where Lake Travis, or rather Westlake, came away with an impressive win that really sparked them this far. This is a Westlake team that we know what they're about. Their defense has been very good all year long. First time they met, but it was way back in Week 5. It's been it's been 2.5 months since they played. It was 20-14. 20-14 at Lake Travis. Now, I do think that Lake Travis is a different ball club. They've changed quarterbacks. They moved their quarterback Caden Leone, who was out with injury, to wide receiver, and Chasten Ditta has stepped up in a big way. But the calling card for this Lake Travis team has been their defense as well. Marcus Boswell, Gus Cordova. How well does Reese Wise, the sophomore, play in his second matchup against Lake Travis? And what does Jack Kaiser, the star running back for Westlake, have in store? This is a fascinating, I think, low-scoring slugfest, which is strange to say for a Westlake Lake Travis game.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time it was 20-14. I expect it to be in that 35-point range as well. I think it's going to be low scoring and hard hitting.
Well, and I think we've also seen from Lake Travis, they've been, I personally think they've been more battle tested in the playoffs than Westlake has. Westlake did play Reagan, which is a super, super good school, but obviously they had Vandergrift in the by-district round, and then I think Brennan last week too. That was a huge win for them.
I agree. Keep an eye on that one. Then let's go. 7:30 p.m. Saturday at Choctaw Stadium in Arlington, live on Bally Sports Southwest. It is a rematch of a District 4 6A game as the South Lake Carroll Dragons at 12-1 take on the undefeated Byron Nelson Bobcats. You may remember this was a real coming out party for Byron Nelson when they knocked off the Dragons the first time. This was a
Week
game
10.
that was 34-17 back in Week 10. Pretty honestly resounding, and Byron Nelson was the better team that game. I don't think I'm going on a limb by saying that. And this is a Byron Nelson team. Tom Von Grote, I think their quarterback has been excellent. Their defense is loaded in the secondary, and that is going to be a real test for South Lake Carroll and their quarterback Graham Knowles. I think you're going to need a real dose. You're going to get a real dose of South Lake Carroll's running game with Riley Wormley and Davis Penn. I think those are going to be the real X factors in this one as far as South Lake Carroll's offense is concerned, because they weren't able to throw the ball all that much on Byron Nelson the first time. Can they establish the run to then hopefully open up the passing attack? It's a fascinating ball game. It's hard to beat a good team twice. Byron Nelson, South Lake Carroll closing out the weekend Saturday night. Then let's go to six-man football, because it is, folks, the semifinals. We're punching tickets to AT&T Stadium. 5 o'clock Saturday in Weatherford. It is a state semifinal in 1A Division I as the Gordon Longhorns take on the Jonesboro Eagles. Gordon has the best defense in six-man football, plain and simple. They're giving up 8 points a game, which is shocking in six-man football. Shocking.
That's got to be. We've got to start talking about that as one of the best six-man defenses of all time.
It's exceptional, plain and simple. Their defense has been outrageous. They got playmakers like Stryker Reed. It's on the Jonesboro offense, guys like Jacob Cisneros, DeMarcus Akoff, to find a way through this Gordon defense. And then they've got to find a way to slow down Stryker Reed as well. And Jonesboro coach Eddie Gallegos is a defensive guy. I'm interested to see how they match up stop for stop with them. One of the things that I'm interested in this, and we talked about this in the picks video, is also a measuring stick of Region 3 versus Region 4. Who's got the tougher region? Interested in this one, Jonesboro and Gordon punching a ticket to AT&T Stadium Saturday in Weatherford. Then let's go to a real fascinating matchup in 3A as this game is going down, he said to himself. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Citibank Stadium in Forney as unbeaten Winsboro takes on unbeaten Malakoff, and I think this game rocks.
Oh, yeah.
These two teams have been absolutely dominant coming in, and both these offenses are hitting on all cylinders. Winsboro hung 72 on Whitney last week. Quarterback Kyler Finney has been absolutely outrageous offensively for Winsboro. Going up against Malakoff, who you got to see them live and in person, and they drilled Grandview for a second time last week.
Oh, like from the very, very get-go. Their wide receiver, Chancey Hogg, is really impressive. And then it was their sophomore running back, Jarian Hall. Not Jarian Hall. Who was it? Mike Jones.
Who?
Mike Jones is the quarterback. He was fantastic, but they have I think it is Jarian Hall. I think he is the sophomore running back.
The quarterback is
Mike Jones.
Is who?
Mike Jones.
281-330-8004. This is a fascinating matchup because the thing is, these offenses, because they're so star-studded, I think that they overshadow what are two pretty good defenses too.
Yes.
So this is a game that's kind of hard to call because normally you'd say big, high-powered offenses expect a shootout, but both these defenses have been very good as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because their especially for Malakoff, their quarterback Mike Jones is Mike Jones. He plays safety for him, and he had a pair of picks last week, but they have been. I mean, they are operating.
281-330-8004. Then I am really intrigued by this one. 7 o'clock Friday night in Stephenville. It is 13-0 Aledo taking on the 11-2 Abilene Eagles. Now, let me say from the get-go.
Live on Dave Campbell's Texan Live.
Let me say from the get-go. Aledo's the favorite.
Yes.
If you don't hear anything else I say, hear this. Aledo's the favorite and understandable favorites. With that said, Abilene ain't going quietly. Okay? This team can ball. Okay? They've got big-time wide receiver in Ryland Bradford. They have got a tough defense that has been very good all year long. And I think that they're going to be able to attack this Aledo front seven, which is young, and be able to run the ball a little bit with guys like Bam Rayshaw. This is a fascinating matchup. The question is going to be, can the Abilene defense keep Aledo's home run hitters in check? Hoss Haney, Racine Guillory, Caden Finley, can they keep them in check? Hawk Patrick Daniels, can they keep them in check and keep them from hitting home runs? Huge game in this one. Again, Aledo's your favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe circle this one for upset watch because I'm really interested in this one. Finally, let's go to East Texas for a big-time matchup in 3A as the Dangerfield Tigers take on the Newton Eagles in a regional final in 3A Division 2. This is kind of the forgotten. I think we're all kind of waiting for Canadian and Gunner, but this game, as far as 3A Division 2 is concerned, I think this is the real showcase this week. Dangerfield really caught our attention a couple of weeks ago when they dominated Hooks, and they have been exceptional defensively this year. Chase Johnson, their quarterback, has been great. They're giving the ball to Bubba Hampton, who is a real fun playmaker. Their running back Ashton Williams has been good as well. But again, their defense is kind of what's led the way. They've been excellent. Newton is undefeated, and I think very quietly undefeated, and they've got that kind of Newton-ish look where they've got those big-time playmakers, but again, it kind of overshadows what has been an excellent defense these past couple of weeks. In the playoffs, they have given up 43 points in 3 games.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I think, the fun thing for me here is the clash in styles. Dangerfield moves pretty quickly. Newton's going to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah, Newton's going to be the physical team, but Dangerfield can bow up with you too. Fascinating East Texas matchup for a spot in the state semifinals, Newton and Dangerfield. There they are, my top 10 Texas high school football games of the week in the regional finals. Of course, we'll have complete coverage for you every step of the way at texasfootball.com. And remember, we have got a ton of games on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, including some we mentioned here. So, TexanLive.com.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.